That one sync to the new Wi-Fi? Okay, cool. We will hope it works. Just let me know when you're ready, Janice.
Mayor, wait. Okay, not doing this. We are recording.
We are recording. Very good. Good evening. Welcome to the May 20th, 2024 Township Committee meeting held at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road. Can we have a roll call, please, Janice?
Mrs. Patrick?
Here.
Mr. Olet?
Here.
Ms. Seuss? Here. Mr. Templeton? Mr. Bartlett?
Here. Also present, Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mr., who else is here? Mrs. Lohr, our Municipal Clerk, Mrs. Russell, Deputy Municipal Clerk, and Mr. Tilger, the Police Chief. Would you please rise for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you please read the sunshine statement, please, Janice?
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2024 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. This meeting of the Delanco Township Committee may be transmitted via live stream on YouTube video. The streaming of the meeting is not intended to be relied upon as formal public access under the Open Public Meetings Act, and if the technology is disrupted for any reason, the township meeting will proceed in person as an official meeting in accord with the official notice.
And thankfully, with this new Wi-Fi we got, it looks like the meeting is streaming. So thank you, Bev, for getting that bug worked out today. We will start off with Ordinance 2024-11, amending Chapter 295, governing vehicles and parking, handicap parking, second reading by title only, and public hearing. Hearing is now open to the public for Ordinance 2024-11. If you have any comments or questions on this ordinance, please step up, come to the podium, give your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we will close this portion of the meeting to the public, and I'll ask for a motion to approve Ordinance 2024-11.
So moved. Second. Oops.
Carolyn and Mike, roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss? Yes. Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. And next item is Ordinance 2024-12, ordinance authorizing the Township Clerk to act as the issuing authority as to bingo and raffle licenses and to amend Chapter 228 to provide prohibitions and enforcement, second reading by title only, and public hearing. Hearing is open to the public for Ordinance 2024-12. Again, come up to the podium, name and address for the record, and please make your question or comment. Again, seeing no one, we'll close this to the public, and again, I'll ask for a motion to adopt 2024-12.
So moved.
Second.
Kate and Fern, roll call, please.
Mrs. Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss? Yes. Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
And Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. All right, up next, we have a special presentation for Eagle Scout project proposal from Mr. Lucas Russell. Come on up, Lucas. Good evening.
Good evening. All right, so my name is Lucas Russell. I'm a Life Scout with Troop 19, and for my Eagle project, I'm going to be replacing the flagpole at Gateway Park. So over the past few years, I've been with the Memorial Day service, and I've seen that the flagpole has fallen into disrepair. So I met with Mr. McFadden and Mr. Schoeniger to discuss options for replacing the flagpole. So I went to Lingo, and I picked out the Serapis Series flagpole. It's 25 foot tall and 5 inches in diameter. It's an aluminum flagpole. We decided that would be the best. It would go better than the fiberglass as it's more durable. And give me a second here. The flagpole probably have to do it on 2 separate days, but I'm hoping to be done by late June, early July.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I did review your project. I missed the rec meeting when you were presenting it to Recreation, but it's excellent project, Lucas, and it's definitely needed. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Lucas?
And the flag comes with the pole, right?
Welcome to the flag.
The $2,500, that includes the installation of the pole? Or is that just the material?
The installation is going to be done by the troop and any other volunteers.
Mike, any questions?
It's great. A light. Do we need a light on it? Is there a light on it? Will there be a light on it?
There's already lighting.
On the ground, there's one that faces up, and then there's 2 that face on the step.
Yeah, we have good lighting. We had the light replaced a couple years ago.
I think this is a great idea, Lucas, as, we've all been out there for all the Memorial Days, and we see occasionally with the struggle with getting the mechanism to raise and lower the flag as we're doing the ceremony, so I think this is a great idea and perfect time for that. Wish you luck for the project, and I'll certainly make it my duty to be out there and help you guys with it as well. Just let me know when it is.
Yeah.
All right?
The
Thank-
local urgent care thanks you because
Yes.
of all the,
Thank you, Lucas.
great idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
those are good and they're fun.
All right, meeting is now open to the public for any comments or questions. This is session number 1. If you have any comments or questions, come up to the podium and give your name and address for the record. Meeting's now open to the public. Hello, Ray.
Right?
Ray.
22 Ships Way. On behalf of the News Land residents, I would take this opportunity to thank the committee members who came to our meeting, as well as to the police department. We'd like to thank both on behalf. So it was very informative. Got some few questions to come back. I'm talking to the chief about stuff, so we're in good shape there. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank you all.
Thank you for having us there, Ray.
Ray, how was your trip?
It was fantastic.
Good.
Good.
Welcome back.
pull this down and do a slideshow for us? Like we could.
There's one thing on there, don't ask for a Philly cheesesteak in France.
No, no.
Kind of common.
Yeah,
I asked, I want to see what it was like.
Actually had it.
Oh, they actually had that?
It's on the menu?
The Philly cheesesteak was on a hot dog roll bun with a thin slice of beef, one jalapeno pepper, a little bit of onion, and a little bit of cheese.
oh my.
I mean, you get French fries in the US, so might as well try that there.
But it was, don't even go there.
Yeah.
I felt like going in back and telling the guy,
This ain't how you do it.
let me in here.
Nice comment.
Well, glad you're back, and I hope you had an enjoyable time, Ray.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public? If not, there will be another session later on in the agenda. All right, we'll close this session right now, and we will go to comments and reports. We'll start with Mr. Schwab, Township Administrator.
Thank you. Just want to comment on a couple items that are on the agenda. We have the salary ordinance, which I've mentioned before, effective July 1st, covers what's been budgeted and what's in the union contracts. We also have the longevity policy changes for those that are not covered by collective bargaining contracts. The last minute, as you saw, we added a lengthy flood hazard ordinance. I think, I don't know if you want to ask Mike Templeton to explain it more, but the key thing is that the state and the feds have decided that after we changed everything to their liking a few years ago, they need to change it again. So it's taken several months to get to what fits our format and fits their needs. It's very it's technical stuff, and so I don't know what kind of question. The public hearing will be at your July 10th meeting, but we found out today that technically we have to forward it on to the Joint Land Use Board because there is reference to site plan and subdivision procedures. So technically they have to comment on whether or not it's in compliance with the master plan. You also have the resolution to do a shared service agreement with Hainesport for a qualified purchasing agent we talked about before, and then also mentioned that I notified you that I got an email from Senator Singleton's office that we will not be receiving any special state grant this year, particularly because we received one last year. So that's my reports. If there's any questions on those items that are on the consent agenda, don't hesitate to ask before you get to that point, unless you want to pull it off and deal with it separately.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Anyone have any comments for Richard? Okay. Now we'll go to department heads. Chief?
Good evening, thank you. I'll begin with our statistics up to this point in the month of May. So far this month, we've responded to 603 calls for service. There were 44 motor vehicle stops conducted, where 21 motor vehicle violations were issued, initiated 10 police cases. They've handled 3 motor vehicle accidents, made 3 adult arrests, and 4 fugitive contempt arrests. We had a couple officers attend some training last week specifically. Sergeant Maloney attended a week-long Delta training. This is a advanced supervisor course. It primarily deals with supervision and management. As I continue to state, I'm really trying to put a lot of training into our officers, especially at the supervision level, since we are a younger department. He brought back some good information and trends that are going along with supervision. Patrolman Gallagher, as I stated previously, he was in the crash course. He completed it. So the next step later in the year, he'll be attending the Crash 2 course. And I believe that's scheduled. I just don't know the exact date. Lieutenant Warren informed me that he did get him registered for the course. As Mr. Weber stated, on the 9th, we met with the residents, had some good questions. There was open flow of communication. It was nice to see the turnout they had, along with the representative from the committee. So it was a good meeting overall. Unfortunately, our Coffee with a Cop had to be postponed, which was supposed to be this past Saturday due to the weather. I didn't want to take a chance for a poor turnout if it was, inclement weather. So we're working with the owner to reschedule, and hopefully we'll be putting that information out this week sometime once we speak to her. We also hosted a Cub Scout meeting at our police department. Sergeant Deering met with the scouts, and he said the event turned out well. And that's all I have to report this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. Good job as always. Anyone have any questions for the chief?
Chief, I got the case count that you said so many new cases each month that you report. What's the life cycle of a case? How long before it gets initiated to you can close it out and be done with it?
That all depends on the type of case it is. I mean, something as simple as somebody reporting a lost wallet probably can take an officer 30 to 45 minutes to, initiate and close the case. If it's an act of domestic violence where there's an arrest involved, 2 to 3.5 hours, depending on the situation. A warrant arrest, probably 45 minutes to an hour and a half. It varies just depending on the type of case it is, really. And then there's obviously investigations, which they get opened and they could, last for weeks, months, depending on the closure, if identifying suspects and have enough probable cause to charge.
So some you dispose of fairly quickly and others just keep hanging on depending on the progress.
Big change in recent years has just been the amount of technology, the advances in technology. So the more things get advanced that way, the more is put on the officers to kind of, add more steps. Where when I started, we'd have a piece of paper that was a investigation report and arrest report, and you're pretty much in and out, within,
So very few one and done.
not no more.
A lot of I's dotted and T's crossed, and make sure everything's good for any
Absolutely.
questions that come in the future. It's the same way we have to do our reports at the firehouse when we have the squad, same exact thing.
Yeah,
So,
multi-levels of supervision, sign-offs, and so forth.
yeah, yep. Thank you, Chief. Let's see, Mr. Fenimore's not here. Let's go to Mrs. Laura.
Nothing at this time. There will be correspondence that will be noted for the record. And also, before you get to your consent agenda, just note in your packets you received a copy of the letter from Harry Fox, a project manager, for the seawall project. You have a resolution on your consent to award that. For the record, just note that 9 bids were received and for this project, and that a recommendation has been made by the project manager of the Township Engineer's Office. And the rest of the stuff that I have is later on in the meeting. Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you, Janice. All right, now we'll go to Township Committee comments. I'll start to my far left, Ms. Fitzpatrick.
Okay, thank you. Dysa Del Riv. I was unable to attend this meeting, but I did read in the newsletter that registration's open for soccer now, and Carolyn can report on any other items of interest that may have taken place since I missed that meeting. The yard sale, hoagies and breakfast. Well, everybody was hopping around Delanco for the yard sale, and of course, the firehouse has the best hoagies, and the Boy Scouts do a super job on breakfast. I enjoy every year. The cleanup and shredding event, of course, I always manage to have something to take to Public Works, and I love the shredding event because it does give me an opportunity to conveniently get rid of some personal items. Newton's Landing, I did attend their open forum, and I always enjoy meeting with the residents in the HOA, and it's nice to know that they feel they have that open communication with us, and it does make things work nice and smoothly. Thanks, Ray. Recreation, another meeting I was unable to attend. My daughter was here visiting for actually she was here for a week for Mother's Day and some cleanup in the house and yard. So the only thing that I can report on recreation is that the parade is May 26th. It is starting at West Avenue this year, and I hope to see everybody out. The seniors met on May 14th. I did attend this one. They were entertained by Steve Moritz and Jim Tracy with some folk songs, and some people were actually able to sing along. Their last meeting until September is June 11th, which is a luncheon at Fratelli's. The Sewer Authority met on May 14th in person. The trunk line project is almost complete. The work at the pump station is moving along nicely. 989 Coopertown Road, there's no new update. Stylex, there's no new update. We're waiting for DEP to approve their discharge, and the operator's report is on file. Affordable housing, Carolyn and I met with our professionals and Janice to see where we stand at this time. It appears that we're in pretty good shape, although we are not sure what the numbers are as of this date. Mary Beth, our planner for affordable housing, did put together the timeline schedule and hopes to get some numbers to us soon. She will be meeting with Janice to prepare the report on our trust account that is due prior to our next meeting, which is scheduled for June the 26th. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Great. Thank you very much, Kate. And I'll go to my far right next, Mr. Templeton.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Let's see. As Mr. Schwab alluded to, we'll be introducing a new flood ordinance. The township adopted one back in 2017 when we got new FEMA flood maps. And a couple years ago, the state, from a state audit, discovered that that ordinance was not in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program and the Uniform Construction Code of National Code. So anyway, 2 years ago, the state DEP, Department of Environmental Protection, started circulating or working their way around the state in adopting a model ordinance. There are two versions, a coastal version and a riverine, riverfront version. We've obviously got the riverfront version. So what you'd think would be an easy process, because the 31 pages of the document are pretty much standard boilerplate, and there's only a few areas that the municipality has input or can customize it, mainly identifying the specific flood maps that are appropriate for Delanco. There's also a second set of state maps, state-studied waters from 1978, And that was the thing that was kind of hard to wrap our brains around, both, and I've been working with Mike Luneman, our construction official, Mr. Fox, our township engineer, and a colleague of Mr. Fox at his firm, Anthony Lopez. And these state maps from 1978 are basically pencil maps, but the state insists that we use them, and we incorporate them as far as a reference in this new document, this new ordinance. The other part that we had some difficulty over, basic English language, is that the paragraph that's really the operative paragraph in the whole 31-page document, all four of us were looking at it and saying, we're not sure what answer you want us to come up with here. So through a lot of massaging, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls, and a Zoom meeting that all of us participated in, we got that sorted out. So I think we've got some clarity on that. I compiled what I hope is a good reference source. It's on the township's website under government. Far right side, it's FEMA flood map information. And the top document has a bunch of links to the DEP website and a bunch of sources. The interesting thing, the 1978 maps that the state provides, you can Google that for DEP under their website and you can't find it. They don't exist. But anyway, so I've got a backdoor way to find those. For the most part, homeowners really don't have the need to have that kind of information. That's something that if you want to do something, improve your property, build something, that would obviously flow through a permitting process through the municipality and our engineers. But for Delanco, on the flood maps, we have base flood elevations that are published on the FEMA maps of some areas in town at 10 feet, other areas of town are 11-foot BFE, base flood elevation. The important thing to remember is these are best engineering guesses by the FEMA folks when they compile those maps. Mother Nature does not read FEMA firm maps, so what happens, happens. And as we are experiencing in recent times, weather seems to be a little more intense, a little angrier. We had some very unusual flooding back in January that exceeded the Sandy levels and so forth. So sea level rise is forecast to, the average numbers are about another foot over the next 50 years or so. So that obviously affects the tidal Delaware River that we live by. So, but what this ordinance probably will end up giving or requiring is a 3-foot, possibly 4-foot additive to that base flood elevation of 10 feet or 11 feet. So the lowest floor of any substantial improvement that you do or building a new property, the lowest floor will have to have that elevation of something around 13 or 14 or 15 feet to be eligible and for the township to be in compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program. So a little long-winded, but anyone's got questions, ask me now, ask me later, ask me next month. So, but there it is. Thank you.
What was the second thing you said?
Yeah.
It's certainly a lot of information, and
Yeah, it is.
good work on that.
Thank you, Mike.
Vern, what do you got?
Let's see. Back on April the 30th, I was invited to the Homeowners Association to meet with folks over there at the Point and listen to part of their meeting and the input that they gave or that they were seeking possibly to come towards to the Township Committee would be to dedicate, for us to accept their streets and have them dedicated. And I discussed with them or shared with them my knowledge of how their development came to be, and that the streets, the way they were designed, I guess exceptions were made for the density of that development, and that the possibilities of the streets being accepted by the town would probably be a push. but they were more than welcome to come here to the Township Committee at a meeting and, present their case. And let's see, then on May the 9th, I had the privilege of attending the Newton's Landing Homeowners Association meeting, which I believe was a first for me in many years, and it was nice to see the number of folks that were at the meeting and the dialogue that we went back and forth on different topics. So it was educational. The pathways, as far as the county and the progress that was being made there, the county has, or I guess the engineers have come out and that process is in the works, and there's an approval piece that has to take place. And then after that, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks after that, something with permits, and then they can start the project. I happened to see Mary Pat Robbie from the county yesterday out at Smithville Park, and I shared that with her because she had asked, where does the project sit? And so I fed that back to her, and she was a little surprised by the comment of approval. So I think she's going to go back and do a little bit more homework and
Yeah.
possibly push some buttons there.
Well, she wouldn't approve it, but I think John went to Senator Singleton, and he got the ball rolling because the county would not approve it, we had a meeting here with the county, and they said they would not take the responsibility because the development was not actually a gated community, but they didn't want public access. So we met with the county here, and they would not agree to do it, but Senator Singleton pushed some buttons, and Joe Brickley stepped up, and the county is going to do the repair work that needs to be done to make it handicap accessible and to improve the path.
Well, her reaction to having to wait for an approval, she thought it was a done deal and everything was already
I guess
in
she was
the works.
notified, yeah.
So, right.
One thing concerned about that pathway, Ray Rubber, 22 Ship.
We know who you are.
Yesterday, someone fell on that path, when the bicycle fell, and we had to call the ambulance out.
Oh, wow.
So that path really needs to be fixed, and what happens is they get out, they lined it, and from what I've been told, it's supposed to be doing after they finish over Riverside, they're coming over here
Yeah.
to do it.
Good.
So, but yeah, yesterday, the ambulance had to come out for someone who fell off a bicycle on that path.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
And the strange thing about it was, we had another call for 4 doors up at the same time.
Yeah.
So the police department was very busy that day.
Thanks for the update, Ray. Let's see. History Board, been very busy. We had the meeting on May the 1st, and then on Saturday, we had our open house here from 1 to 3 on the Lenape Indians and the artifacts, and Mr. John Burke, whose personal collection of arrowheads and artifacts that are on our display cases out there now. He was here, and man's got a lot of knowledge, especially the experience of growing up along the Rancocas Creek, Pennington, where Pennington Park is, and over where Olympia Lakes is, and where he found a lot of the artifacts. So it was quite interesting. And we had some residents stop by, and another gentleman brought in the artifacts that he had, and they were able to dialogue back and forth on that. So that was really good. And we have our open house coming up in June, and that'll be set up again here in the lobby on the third Saturday from 1 to 3, and we'll have the Waterman's display, and I believe Kate has artifacts or things from her
My
Her
grandfather's.
grandfather.
Decoy carving, yeah.
So that'll be there. And then yesterday at the Smithville Park, the county had their events out there, and a few members from the history board, we were there to represent Delanco, and again, we're able to dialogue with folks that were coming through the tent. Let's see. Mayfair. Attended a couple of the school board meetings over the last month or month and a half, again, dealing with the closure of our Walnut Street School. And this past meeting, again, there were some follow-up dialogue on things that the school board needs to take care of as far as the closing process and what the options are for that building, and renting the building out to generate revenue. And again, the dialogue of the Walnut Street School building itself and the playground behind the school, and where does that sit, and how do we protect that piece of property? There's, I think, part of it is open space, and the other part is questionable. But so, as a township, we need to make sure that we're on top of that we're able to preserve that open space, to keep it open space, whether it's for recreation, for our children, or if at some given point in time, the Walnut Street School needs to reopen because of a need for space, and to have that space there, the open space, again, for our children. And Mayor Bartlett and I met as a subcommittee last week pertaining to our sign ordinance. And we actually got in the car and we drove around town and looked at properties and looked at signage that's out there, and what's already in place, and what may need to be changed. But I think our biggest hiccup at the moment is when we got to the gas stations and the regulations that are there for signage, and what do we have and what's acceptable. And so I think we need to do a little bit more homework on that and look at some other communities and what their ordinances are pertaining to gas stations and the signage there. And I believe that's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Fern. Thank you. All right, let's see.
No, we're not.
I know.
Don't even go there.
Yeah, I forgot Carolyn last time, so I'm just busting her chops. Carolyn, what do you got?
You're funny. Thank you, Mayor Bartlett. I attended the Dicey meeting April 23rd. Ms. Fitzpatrick was correct. Soccer registration is open till approximately mid-August right now for our Recreation League. So be sure to sign up quickly. Softball and baseball are underway. Concession stand are being opened when possible. Nothing really else going on there. Public Works Subcommittee, Matt and I met with Richard and John to discuss the ongoing processes that Public Works has, address some concerns, listen to them. So it's a good meeting, open dialogue. We're progressing, for sure. Recreation meeting was on May 9th, and I'll report because Kate was not there, so she asked me to report on that. Madeline Malik did free yoga sessions at Zerberg for the past 2 weeks. They just ended. I know there was a lot of rainouts, but from what I understand, she did do those as much as possible every day. There won't be yoga on the Delaware this summer, as the person who handled it before is not going to be in town, and we also are going to have our construction anyway, so it kind of works out that way. So we did have our presentation for the Eagle Scout project, and Recreation was very excited about it and did pledge the $1,000 and any difference if you don't make up for it. And my husband is a co-chair, and Phil will be happy to be out there and give you any hand you need with construction, and of course Mr. Jess as well. On Sunday, we have the Memorial Day Parade starting at West Avenue this year from 1 to 4. Burlington Avenue will be closed, I think, starting at 12:30. So we look forward to that. Hopefully everybody can come out with the new route. It'll be able to serve all of our residents a little more towards the end of town. Summer concerts start on June 6th at the Marina. We do have our first adult over 18, over 17 movie, drive-in movie. It's going to be Top Gun 2 on June 1st at the Field of Dreams event lawn. So concessions will be served, and we're looking forward to having the adults come out before, having a night out before school's out, is how they're advertising it, so that should be fun.
Last day of freedom.
Yeah, so they're gonna have some cornhole, some games, and just, have a nice little community event for the adults. And summer camp starts June 24th and runs until the end of July. It's $125 a week, so get your kiddos signed up for that. I attended the Affordable Housing Zoom, as Kate mentioned, on the 15th with our professionals, and since this is my first affordable housing class, so to speak, master class, I learned a lot, I listened to a lot, and it looks like we're in a good place going forward, so we were excited for that. Thankfully, due to the hard work that the committee and our professionals did in the last round, they put us in a good place for now. So look forward to continuing that work, and hopefully by the end of summer, we'll have some numbers and understand what our responsibilities will be. I think that's it.
All right.
I had a question on the parade. Will there be a shuttle bus to take us from West Avenue down to the firehouse, and so we can start from there?
So we drive.
If you want to ride, if you need a ride, you can always pop in the back with Carolyn and I if you want to ride. So if you get winded or something, we'll be glad to pick you
Or
in
hop on
front
Matt's
of.
fire truck.
I'll be in a piece of fire apparatus. This potty does not walk 2 miles or whatever it is. I probably should, but
I think it's an extra, 4 blocks, does it, Phil?
long blocks.
It's approximately the same distance when it used to go down Union to Willow.
Right.
Or Union Delaware.
But it was downhill there.
I didn't
Yeah.
walk it then either. All right. Thank you very
Maybe you
much.
can hitch a ride on that Surrey's electric Surrey.
Yeah, that'll
There we
probably,
go.
you'll probably be in the parade.
And let's just backpedal for a second on what Carolyn was talking about with DICE and the concession stands. I just want to give a hand to Joanne, sitting up front there. She's like, oh no, not me. She's been volunteering her time. Every time I'm up there when Gavin has a baseball game, I see her working the concession. You don't have any kids in the program. Thank you. And I said this when I was on the board, if 10% of the parents registered, the children's parents who are registered in the program showed up, we would never have an issue with opening it, just 10%. So
Right.
thank you for all the volunteers who don't even have any kids in the program. So, let's see, since my last report way back in the day on April 15th, I attended the Public Works Subcommittee meeting with Carolyn, Richard, and Mr. Fenimore. That we had those on April 17th and May 8th. I attended the New Jersey Emergency Preparedness Conference in Atlantic City on April 22nd through the 24th. I took a class offered by the National Weather Service on various weather systems and how to spot them. And I attended the Public Information Officer class where I learned some good information on communicating with the public regarding ongoing incidents and disseminating information. It was a 3-day class. Unfortunately, I didn't stay for days 2 and 3 as I picked up a terrible sinus infection while I was down there that knocked me square on my backside. So I'll be working on getting those 2 days made up through an online offering that they'll be having shortly. Delanco OEM coordinator Rob Vierick was also down there, and he took a variety of classes of the 4 days, and he'll report on them at our next OEM meeting. Overall, it was a valuable experience with a lot of good offerings of classes for all the attendees, and look forward to going back there in the future. I attended the Board of Ed meeting on April 24th that we've discussed tonight from a couple other committee people, and attended the Board of Ed meeting last week on May 22nd as well, along with Carolyn and Fern. The main item to note last week was that they authorized the rental listing agreement for Walnut Street School for school use purposes only. I requested, again, a copy of the listing prior to it being listed, but they didn't respond to that request. And they also did indicate that they want to discuss sharing various services with the township in order to save on costs wherever possible, and they'll reach out once they have something that they need to discuss. April 27th, as Kate mentioned, we had the hoagie sale up at the firehouse. I got up there bright and early, and we made the 500 hoagies, and we sold out just as quickly, and nice job by the scouts out there, having their famous pork roll, egg, and cheeses. You guys did good as well. May 3rd, I attended a tree planting ceremony at Pearson for Arbor Day. Bill Manilevich from the Shade Tree Commission and I, along with the first grade classes, planted a tree in front of Pearson School near one of the ones that was planted a few years ago, so the kids will be watching that grow over time. May 4th, we had the cleanup day up here. I brought some items to the dumpsters that they had out here. Nice job, our entire Public Works Department was out there, and they filled up all those dumpsters, so great job to our town cleaning up and making it look good. May 7th, I attended, along with Mike, a subcommittee meeting with the Board of Ed to discuss the library contract, and we'll be meeting with them next week. I attended the Newton's Landing meeting. May 10th, I met with Bev. We went over the hazardous mitigation plan that the county prepared, and we reviewed the final version to make sure all the comments were incorporated, and they mostly did. Kind of like the stormwater ordinance that Mike was talking about. It's a template form, just really need to fill in the blanks correctly, and all the blanks weren't filled in correctly, so we're working through that, and hopefully we'll then get that finalized. And then later that day, I met with Fern. We drove the town looking at signs. I attended the library board meeting last Tuesday, and we discussed the library contract there as well. I've never been to a library board meeting before, but just for this one meeting, I learned so much about the workings of the library, and you could really tell about how passionate the board members are, and of course, library director, Ms. Radcliffe, is about its offerings and the need for the library. And finally, last Wednesday before the Board of Ed meeting, I attended a court security meeting with the town administration and court staff and Judge Ahart and a rep from the judiciary, and it sounds like we are in good shape here in Delanco. And sometime between now and then, I slept and went to work, so a lot of stuff going on by all of us this month.
Finished your deck.
I almost finished my deck. That's ongoing if it wasn't for this rain.
Mayor,
Okay.
when you're
Janice.
done, I do have something I need to report.
Oh,
When you're
have at
ready.
it. I'm ready.
Okay.
Always ready, Janice.
Bev, Aaron McFadden, and I attended training at the new Burlington County Election Building in Morristown for the new machines that will be rolled out for the primary on June 4th. They are big. They are real big. Matter of fact, we had to go out and measure all the doors at all our polling locations because they had to meet a certain width. And we actually had the county bring out one of the new machines because they said we needed 36 inches clearance and turn radius, and the doors were at the firehouse were measuring like 34 and a half. So they did bring out a machine, and we're thinking, if this can't get in, if this new machine can't get into the meeting area, what's the alternative? But the machine squeezed through, like by a tiny little bit. Now, those that vote at the polls, that don't vote by mail, will have the machines introduced for the primary, so Republicans and Democrats voting at the polls. And it's a new process. It's a now additional step where before you signed in, got your voting authority, went to the machine, cast your vote, hit vote cast, and you were done. Exit the machine. Now you have to go in, and anybody that has voted early voting has experienced these new machines. They have them at early voting. But at the polls, you will go in, get your voting authority at your table. You will go to the machine and vote. And then your ballot will print out. You will now take the printed ballot, put it into a sleeve, and have to go to what we call a reader or an authenticator, and feed that printed ballot into the machine for your vote to cast. These new machines were by order of the Attorney General, that Burlington County must replace its machines. So I just want to let everyone know, and we'll be announcing it and talking about it. As a matter of fact, we're going to be contacting the county superintendent of elections. They're offering to bring a new machine out to whatever function we feel would, you know, if we want to have one here and invite the public here one day, if we want to have one at Community Day, or if there's an event that you might think of that's highly attended, maybe at one of the senior meetings or something, we could ask the county to, they'll bring out a machine so everybody can get used to them. Because now what we don't want is people getting their printout and leaving thinking, oh, I have a receipt on my ballot on how I voted. Because if you walk out with your printed ballot, you didn't really vote yet. Now, what this will allow you to do, though, is to print it out, come out of that one area where you cast your vote and get the, not cast the vote, but make your selections, get your printed ballot. You can actually look at it and say, you know what, I changed my mind. And get back in line and go vote again and get a new ballot, because your ballot isn't cast until you feed the ballot, the printed ballot, through the authenticator or the reader. So I just wanted to bring that out, that is happening. Again, they will be, except for early voting, they've been out at early voting, but they will be used at the primary. And then the general election, which is going to be a huge, huge turnout. So we're thinking that after the primary, but before the general, maybe have an opportunity for the county to bring one of the machines here to something in Delanco. And if people want to come up and see it and you know, see how it works and everything. And we'll be putting a lot of information out about, you know, the new type of machine, because it is a change. It's a big change.
Hey, Janice.
Yeah, yes, Karen.
Maybe the county can do a video tutorial on Post-it. Do a quick, just so they can share it on their website. And
There might be something, I will double check into that. I think there is, but I don't know if the tutorial is just for the board workers
Yeah.
and the municipal clerks to access. I'm not sure if it's available to the general public.
It seems like the easiest way to show people how to do it.
Yeah, the important part is for people not to leave, somehow get
course.
past
Right.
and leave and thinking, oh, I have a receipt for my ballot. It's to make sure that they go around to the reader or the authenticator and put that in so that their vote counts, truly counts.
Will the poll workers be trained who usually you take your, you know, the authority that you have to vote? Will they actually kind of lead?
They're going to, they'll be at the table, so when you go in, there'll be the Chromebooks and everyone, you get your vote, you sign in and get your voting authority, then you take the voting authority to the machine. Now, here's the difference.
Because there's usually a person there.
There will be people on the machine. It's as people, what they're anticipating is as people are coming out with their paper, somebody's got to say, no, remember, you got to go around and put it through the reader.
Right.
But then they have to reset the machine too. So they're going to be, the machine workers are going to be really, really busy. And maybe for the primary, it won't be that busy. But all the poll workers have had to have gone to new training. So we're hoping that everything works out. One thing that the county said they were doing, a new position will be at the door. There will be a board worker at the door of each polling place. And I think one of the functions of that is to make sure they are looking to make sure nobody is walking out with that sleeve that they're being asked to put their ballot slip in and to say, hey, did you make sure you, I would hope that that's what they're at the door. So that's something new. Provisional voting is also has something new to it. And there will be a poll worker at a provisional table. Before you just took it back to where the voting authority was issued, there's going to be a provisional table, not per district, but per voting location. So, for example, the Pearson School, which has 4 districts, will have 1 provisional table. If you're voting provisional, you will vote on the machine, but when your ballot prints out, instead of taking it to the authenticator, you'll take it to the provisional table. So that's new. What also is new is the person at the door to kind of help people as they're coming in and leaving, looking for that person that's walking out with a sleeve, try to catch them. Another new thing is that Pearson School, for example, 4 districts, and there'll be a table for each district. 1 through 4 to sign in, but then you can go, there's only going to be 2 machines. Each machine will have 2 places to make your selections. So it doesn't matter which machine, once you get signed in at your district's table, doesn't matter what machine you go to and what reader you use. So that'll be a little bit different. The long-term goal, as the county said, would be to where somebody, you won't even need to go to your district table. You can go to any table because the Chromebooks will have every single voter in the town loaded up. So you can, there won't be district tables. But right now, yes, you have to go to your district table, but once you get that voting authority, there's only going to be 2 machines that you can go to, and you can go to either machine.
Do the Chromebooks need Wi-Fi?
Hmm?
Do the Chromebooks need Wi-Fi?
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Well, they've worked. They have these very, very strong, they're called Nighthawks, but they have new ones coming out that are even
They're providing their own
stronger.
Wi-Fi?
We've had some connectivity issues, but nothing that we didn't get resolved by the, opening up the polls. We've been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
Good.
So I just wanted to report on that so that the governing body is aware.
Thank you.
And should be very, very interesting.
And I think it would make sense to see if they could get one of the machines back here for a show and tell. And in fact, if they can't get the machine out of the firehouse after the primary, it may just be there for Community Day.
Well, luckily, we didn't have to relocate or change out I was hoping that if the machine, these machines are big. If it couldn't get through the door to get to the meeting room, then they could use a smaller machine. But if that wasn't an option, then we'd actually be relocating where at the firehouse, and that means moving fire trucks and a whole big.
Thank you for not doing that.
Yeah, luckily they fit. Luckily it just squeezed right through.
Either that or we get a saw and we make the door jamb wider.
Well, it's, but they fit through, so we're in good shape, we're in good shape. And the school's doors, while they're only 34 inches, the one or two of the doors, that center bar does
Comes
come
out,
out.
yeah.
So we've been working with Tim at the school on that accessibility. So he is prepared in case the machine can't fit through his individual doors. He can take one of the bars out and create a wider door very easily.
Spray some WD-40 on
There
the
you go.
door jambs and away
So
we go.
I think that's really important to report, and so that people are aware. I just also too wanted to ask Recreation if it was okay if we could email blast that the route is now starting up at West Avenue, just so that
Sure.
people who have never had the parade go past their houses before.
I think
We have-
Erin did.
Have we email blasted?
I don't think so.
I thought,
If not, let's do it again.
yeah, let's do it.
Sure. I think, maybe
Maybe
that is
Erin
not
just sent
reaching
it to
people
us.
because they're just used to not having the parade come past their house, and I think that's a real treat for them.
Yeah.
So
it
I think
is,
let's get the word out as best as we can. If that's okay.
Perfect.
Don't you think Erin did that?
Yes. But whatever we can utilize to get the word out for people, if that's okay.
Tell them every day.
So thank you for the extra time, but I thought that the new machines was very important to report on that.
We'll take that off your time from next meeting. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, we will go to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Does anyone have any questions or need anything pulled from the consent agenda?
I have a question on 82, the 2006 Explorer that's being decommissioned. Is that what was used by code enforcement?
Ed uses his own vehicle.
What vehicle is that?
No, that was the one they found in the back
It's a-
40.
I thought Ed was using.
At one time.
Oh.
I don't know.
Sitting, unfortunately.
I don't know if anybody else used it after us,
I
but
see him in his vehicle.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of
Drives a black
Explorers.
Explorer.
Yeah, but no, there's a different one. This is,
Got you. So it's one
that
that
was
just
sitting
sits in
back in
there?
Public Works and,
Yeah, it's their
Got ya, so it's a
I think we were the
different
top purchaser for Explorers for some time in the
Yeah.
county.
yeah, well, I think
Great.
the whole
Okay.
state of New Jersey has
Yeah.
Explorers.
Thank you, that's it.
You guys good? Mike Byrne, anything? All right. Ordinance 2024-13, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township of Delanco providing for and determining the rate of compensation of officers and employees, first reading by title only, and set public hearing date for June 10th, 2024.
And that will be 7 PM. That dropped off on both those ordinances.
Okay. Ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance by the Township Committee amending the Delanco Township Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 65, Flood Damage Prevention, to adopt a new Chapter 65, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate a floodplain administrator, and providing for severability and an effective date, first reading by title only, and set public hearing date for June 10th, 2024 at 7 PM. Resolution 2024-80, resolution adopting amendments to the personnel policies and procedures to add longevity pay policy. Resolution 2024-81, authorizing a shared services agreement between the Township of Hainesport and the Township of Delanco for a qualified purchasing agent. Resolution 2024-82, authorizing disposal of out-of-service township property, vehicle. Resolution 2024-83, award of bid and contract for the Zerberg Waterfront Seawall Project. Never thought I would say that. Payment of bills, current fund, $63,492.81. Payroll, $110,668.57. Capital fund, $400. The dog fund, $450. Housing trust fund, $350. Approval of minutes from March 4th, March 12th, and March 18th, 2024. Approval of business licenses, 2024-40 through 2024-45. Approval of department reports. Can I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second?
Carolyn and Mike. Roll call, please.
Ms. Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Olet?
Yes.
Ms. Seuss?
Yes.
Mr. Templeton?
Yes.
And Mr. Bartlett?
Yes. Correspondence, Janice.
Okay, let's start with correspondence that's in your packet from Tracy Florenza, the account manager for our JIF, just notifying us that our 3-year membership with the Berlin County Municipal Insurance Fund is up for renewal effective January 1st, 2025. They would like to set a representative out to an upcoming meeting, and they would like to know if Monday, July 15th, 2024 is okay.
You don't meet that.
Monday, July 15th.
It's not okay?
We have Township Committee that night. Is that, they want to
Yeah.
come during Township Committee?
That's
Yeah, during a
July meeting.
township
okay.
committee meeting, I'm sorry, yeah.
That's
during
our
a
July
township committee
meeting. It's the only one.
And,
I won't be here next meeting.
Good as date as any, I guess.
okay. And
How, what, the presentation they want to give? Or
they want to do a brief presentation,
Brief, okay,
so is that all right?
sure.
Okay, I will let her know that,
That is
July-
our one meeting date for the month of July,
That is the
so-
one meeting date for the month of July. And she says she needs, she said she needed about 15 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes. A presentation should take no longer than 15 minutes.
We'll even give her 16, no
Okay.
problem.
All right, so I will confirm that with her. And then the second piece of correspondence is a letter from Jennifer Hyros, the division head of the Community Development Housing, notifying the township that we are receiving a 2024 Community Development Block Grant for our handicap ramp, a barrier removal program. So additional funding has been coming from HUD, so they were able to fund some more grant applications. So as long as HUD approves the plan, which will be submitted to it soon, we should be getting $75,000 to continue our handicap ramp barrier removal program in town.
Very good, that's about double what we got last year.
I think we got 50,000.
Yeah, we got 50,000.
Yeah.
So now, and this says
33%.
75,000.
We will
So
get the 75.
that's good news.
Yeah.
Very good, thank you, Janice.
And that's all the correspondence that I have. Thank you.
All right. Meeting is now open to the public for comments and questions. This is session number 2. If you didn't get a chance to yet, or even if you did, come on up, give your name and address for the record. Meeting is now open to the public. Long time no see, Ray.
Yeah, long time no see. My question is for Mike. You stated the state is using a 1978 map for this flooding thing, and that's like 46 years old. Come on, guys. What's wrong with the state? You mean to tell me they don't have anything to do
That's
with
a
it?
loaded question.
Would you like me to start?
Do you want to,
Item one.
do you want us to tell you this?
Welcome to Jersey, Ray.
Look what the state did down where 42 and 295. They used the map around the same time frame, and guess what? The wall came down. They've had to push this thing back even farther. I'm not, you know where I'm coming from.
We all asked that same question.
Okay.
And especially after looking at the maps, because it looks like something that was faxed by Thomas Edison to Alexander Graham Bell. I mean, it's that kind of resolution. The state of New Jersey and their flood regulations, which are some of the most stringent in the country, add a 25% buffer. The 25% buffer is calculated, and it's on these 1978 maps. By serendipity, that level, that number, is equal to the current FEMA firm maps, 10 or 11 feet, depending on where you're looking at. So they got lucky 40 years later that it
Yeah.
matches FEMA. So,
I'm just, you know,
I know, we were all scratching, and then they tell you, we got to use these maps, you know, where are they? You know?
see, that's it. I mean, I'm looking at, you know,
Yeah,
like a 46-year-old map, you know?
yeah.
Things change.
Half our town wasn't even here yet.
Different town wasn't born yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was not born yet.
I don't know, a few of us were around then.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but what happens is, I'm looking at it, what the heck's going on here? You know? And so, I mean, the state wanted to get into the 21st century.
When that
Or the
thing.
20th even at this point.
I think it's the 18th century.
Well,
Yeah.
It's,
there was the new Flood Hazard Control Act was passed or adopted last July 16th, I think.
yeah.
And that's got some increased buffers, the 3 foot that I mentioned. And so that brings it up. But a lot of the other state information hasn't caught up to that. And so part of what our confusion was in trying to basically game it is, not game it, that's a bad term, work through, okay, what's the calculation, what are the calculation steps going through this? And, you know, just so it's understandable, because Mr. Lumen, our construction official, Mr. Fox, and Mr. Lopez were all looking at it, and, you know, it's the old joke, you know, you ask 4 people and you get 5 answers. I mean, that's what was happening. And back and forth with DEP, and, you know, it just doesn't make sense. They had a term in there that says best available. Well, that doesn't tell me anything. Is it, okay, if you want to keep your feet dry, you use the highest. If you want to save on construction cost, you pick the lowest one. You know, that's best. It's all relative. So I finally won the point after three months of haggling with them. I said, why don't you just put at the end of that paragraph, whichever is highest? And
Yeah.
that. I can retire happily now. I got 3 words in there, and it solves it. Now, what the other 560 municipalities in the state did to fix that paragraph, I don't know, and how it got this far, but
It's just that, because
that's
I know,
that.
I talked to Mr. Fox about retention basins in the plan. Just wanted to make sure that, you know, I've asked him whenever he has to inspect them or whatever, if he
Yep.
get back to me and let me know what the outcome is, just in case one is Newton's Landing responsibility, the other 2 are the county/township's responsibility and things. So that's the reason why I'm just worried about the Newton Landing, you know,
Yep.
and things. So that's the only reason why, you know, I'm looking at this thing here with flooding and stuff, and that's one of the things that we're.
Oh, yeah, and you know,
It's funny because you get even, we have some homes in our development that have basements, and they've got sump pumps. And
True.
from time to time they're running.
a lot of towns got sump pumps 24/7,
Actually,
yes.
Crossing, every house in there has a sump pump.
Yeah, and, you know, we've got about, I don't know, it varies year to year, maybe 100 policyholders that have flood insurance. Anybody can have flood insurance, but it's required if you have a federally backed mortgage. And it's only required if you're in the special flood hazard area, the 100-year flood zone, 1%. But the new FEMA maps changed a little bit of that. It changed the 500-year line a lot. And so when you start looking at sea level rise and potential flooding, and what usually happens, it's not the named storm or the hurricane that comes up that gets us in trouble, it's the storm the week after the ground's saturated, they can't go anywhere. And that's what we've experienced. So we were, well, anyway, that's what it is.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
What year was those maps, Mike? 76, 78?
78.
I'm vintage 78,
One
that's
or
scary.
2.2 if you look
Lead
at
paint, lead paint year.
top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the
All right.
yeah.
Big year for
3
them.
months fighting for that.
Yeah.
Any other members of the public have any comments or questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace, at least for this evening.
It was 78, because 79 was.
All right, we will now close this portion of
78 after that.
comments
They
to
never-
the public. Discussion items, adoption of the social media policy. Based on Mike's comment about the state, I understand the state wants to adopt a social media policy for Prodigy and CompuServe and AOL perhaps?
What? Oh my God,
But
CompuServe.
that was a bad joke, since the state's
Yeah,
doing stuff
very
40 years
bad.
later. All right, you want to hit that, Karen?
Oh, sure, okay.
It was on there, I figured you,
It was your jam, but,
well,
okay.
you brought it up first, so.
So the social media subcommittee kind of tweaked this a little bit. We worked with our attorney. We basically took this from another town's policy that was shared on the league's website and made some tweaks to which made sense more for our town, and customized it and added some things, clarified some things. This way we can have the social media policy. We have township social media pages now through the different organizations. The police department has one as well. So we are hoping to get a Delanco Township Facebook page activated. And this way we can share pertinent information, not only through email blasts or through bulletin boards, but they can actually post the relative information on the Facebook page that will be done through the office. We're not looking to do anything else with Instagram or Twitter at this moment. We do have the YouTube page set up, so that will be governed by this policy as well. So Matt worked with Doug on this, and I think it's great. It's pretty comprehensive. I didn't have anything to add as far as my 2 cents.
Neither did Doug, for that matter.
Yeah,
so
Doug was
that
really happy with it. He said it was,
Well,
covered all the bases as he thought. So I guess,
I'll take my law degree now.
yeah, so Matt did a nice job on it, so thank you.
Well, we actually,
For that.
the one I used as a template was the one that the league actually put out.
Yeah.
Wyckoff?
Wyckoff.
I believe it
Wyckoff.
was.
Yeah, up
No, it's
north.
Wyckoff,
Wyckoff?
like the Van Wyck and the Van Wyck up in New York. But yeah, that's the one that the league put out. We definitely made, I was going to say tweets,
Tweaks. Yes.
to it. And right now, various members of the committee, various members of the office all use their personal accounts to share pertinent township stuff. All of our neighboring towns, they all have township pages where the township can post things. It's-
It's basically just
Should've been done
information
years ago.
sharing. Yeah, it's just for information sharing. It's not for comments. It's not for people to, request
Not debates.
information. It's not to debate anything. It's not political. It's literally just an information sharing tool for the residents. So, I wanted to say something and it went one ear and out the other. Oh, we are going to have, to be compliant with the open public meetings or not, one of them.
Records.
Oh, yeah, Oprah.
Open public records.
Yes, that.
Oprah.
We have to be compliant with that, so we will be contracting with a archival company like the police department uses now to make sure all of that will be compliant. All of our posts will be saved and be able to be accessed if necessary. We're hoping to get all 3 or 4 pages that we have now on that contract. Mike, did you have a question?
Yeah, a couple. In the purpose, the second paragraph, it says all communications to the municipality. So is it a two-way, people can
Well,
comment?
they can message. They can message. There's no way to turn off messaging, so they can send a message, and then we would just have something that says, this is not being answered. Please direct your questions to the township via a telephone or website address.
We'll have a disclaimer
Yes.
that says that this is for informational purposes only. It is not monitored for comments and not responded to. If you need additional information, please contact the township at, whatever contact information we put. So yes.
And that's
This
done
is-
automatically. once you send a message, Facebook will automatically reply, so there's no one has to actually do that.
Kind of like on an email,
Right.
you send the autoresponder.
Out of office, yeah.
Right.
And the different departmental or functional areas, they're all separate? I mean, it
That's kind of how
just
they are right
seems...
now. Yeah.
Well, the police has its own Facebook, Recreation has its own Facebook, and then, so this will establish this, so it's, they are separate Facebook accounts, yes.
And OEM too,
A-
yeah.
And OEM has a separate one.
And I think perhaps EAB does as well. I didn't put, they have a group, I believe.
I'm not aware of it.
Yeah,
Not
they
that-
do have a group, because Amber sends out
Yeah.
on a group.
I know Delanco Library has a page, but they're not
They
part of
wouldn't be
us.
under us, but
No,
yeah.
but it's just thinking of like different
can't
pages,
talk to Amber's
Delanco
doing.
pages.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any EAB one.
So is there a way to put all these under one umbrella?
For the archival, you mean? Well, all of them are going into social media policy, but not one person should have control of all of them.
No, that you could see all four or whatever at one time?
EAB page. It's like they started 7 years ago. It says.
No, you can't combine the township with the police.
Yeah, they're all separate ones.
No,
They're all separate.
You can share those
You
on
can
the
share-
township page.
Right, we could share their
So
activities.
you have to know it's there.
there will be
Yeah.
different administrators for each of these different Facebook pages. The chief is in charge of the Delanco Police Department Facebook page. Recreation has its administrator. So, and I think it's good to have separate administrators.
So you could actually put in your comments on the main page, for recreation, click this link, for Delanco Police, click this link, so you could share those profiles
You can
on
share
our
them.
main page,
Yeah.
yes.
So what's the qualification of the administrator, or who are these people?
For the,
Other than the chief, I know who he is.
So we have
Aaron?
a strict policy. The only people that have access to ours is myself, the administrative assistant, and the 4 sergeants. And we have criteria what each can actually put on the site, the page. That's why I would not be comfortable combining it.
Yeah.
right.
So what about the others?
So Aaron Provenzano.
Erin Provenzano does rec.
Okay.
Okay. Who does OEM?
Myself and Rob Garrett.
And Rob. And I guess Amber does the EAB, which we
Yeah.
were not aware of that EAB, because it's not included in this
Yeah,
policy.
yeah, because I only saw that yesterday.
Yeah, I wasn't aware either that there was a official Facebook page for EAB.
I wouldn't call it official.
Well, that's
there
why I
and
said
it's-
what we weren't aware that it was
Yeah.
official, so who is the liaison to
Well, that's
EAB?
the danger of some of this stuff, is that it can be seen
Amber
as someone
posts
clicking into it.
on
that,
EAB.
oh, this is,
Well, this is like a group page, the EAB.
what makes this look official, that it's the Delanco Township and not someone ghosting it or not ghosting it.
Residents of the group, it's a group of people that are clean.
I think your disclaimer is important to have that information on there. I mean, people can do any type of hybrid Facebook page,
Well, and-
but we're not responsible for anything not
It's a private
managed
group.
by.
Well, and-
Delanco's environmental page, it's a private group. It
Yeah.
says it's a private group.
It's not a page.
So, yeah. It's very important, though, that if something is representative as a function of the township or its subparts, meaning the EAB, recreation, the police, that the proper records, archival methods are being followed, because they are operable. All content is operable and must be managed and archived accordingly.
So what's,
Under open, and the state is promulgating rules and regulations for the digital world, and is treating, right now, is treating anything we post on our official Facebook pages like a hard copy record. So general informational things just can be a 3-year retention. But once you start using that Facebook page for official notices or official policy or information regarding, let's say, master plan public hearing coming up, That may have as much as a 25-year retention.
Wow.
So they're not finished with promulgating the rules and regs yet, but they're pretty close. So we have to be very careful, and we have to make sure that if any group that is a creature of the municipality is following the proper archival procedures. So that's something that's on my list, to get with our IT, to get with each of the departments to make sure. Now, we know that police, we've already met, they are using Archive Social for content management and archiving.
And you talked about eight out of 10 towns that you talked to also use archival?
Yes, yeah, I did reach out and sent out to my fellow municipal clerks in the county and had some pretty good responses, and I would say the majority, probably 8 out of 12, are using Archive Social. 2 other companies are being used. One wasn't aware you had to do it, shall remain nameless, and the other one is doing a manual backup of like a cut and paste into a folder.
Oh, wow.
Not recommended. Not recommended. So,
Well, so the township website, as it stands now, the current website, so that's the prime source. And so saying that these Facebook pages, links, are advisory or nice to know stuff, but the township's existing website is the prime source, that doesn't get us, eliminate the archiving issue?
No.
No, it doesn't.
no, it's treated as a digital record. If we post something on Facebook, whether it's police, recreation, OEM, you are creating a public record, which has to meet the criteria under what's called a retention schedule for records. And informational things, appears it's going to be a 3-year retention, just like a piece of correspondence. A general piece of correspondence has a 3-year retention and is operable under that 3 years or until such time that it is approved for disposal by the state. Okay. I don't want to get, too technical on records management, but the Facebook, while it's another digital format upon which to disseminate information, as soon as you create a post, you've created a record. That's why it's very important to have. I've included in your packet, one associate counselor for the League of Municipalities did a piece on these digital social media formats for a social media policy, which you're taking the right step there, and also retention and having and recommends an archive contract, not just done through a cut and paste, which could, be a little bit tedious. So it's unlike a private Facebook page where there's no presumption of a record being retained or managed or accessible. We're a public entity. Anything we create becomes a public record, and that follows digital records.
So with these different functional groups, there would be information, probably a lot of information, that they would have on these Facebook pages that if they wanted to put it all on the township's page would probably fill the whole. I mean, it's probably,
Well,
that I could see what's going to happen. I mean, Rec could fill a whole Facebook page and all kinds of stuff.
it depends on how much is posted. For example, if I may, Chief, talk about your archive archive contract that you have is for 1,500 posts or hits a month. And that's a like, a smiley face,
Share.
a share, that all counts. And then if they were to go over that, then it's a very expensive per hit cost. So same like they want a copier. We have a contract for so many black and white copies per month, so many color copies per month, and we go over the color copy amount. What may have been, I'll say maybe 10 cents a copy for a color copy now becomes $2.50 a copy if we go over that monthly amount. That's why Richard's always on us, why'd you make this in color? Because it could become very expensive.
Done with the flood ordinance.
Well, there you go, well, there you go, see, the flood ordinance, 30 pages of color copies, right?
Do we even need it?
So it's important that we just can't lump everything together, because
I want this, but
we have to be very careful
Yes.
that and the contract that we get isn't too little. We don't want to pay for more than what we have to, but we
Right.
certainly don't want to go over our monthly contract limit. So it's a little bit more involved than a private Facebook account, but we'll get there. Actually, I'm quite excited that we'll have another digital format and want to reach people and get information out to, you know,
The public, yeah.
the public, the residents and everything.
I think
And
the
not
chief-
everybody uses email, not everybody uses the website, so if we can add another digital format to reach more people in town, sure, let's do it.
I think the chief can back me up when they share something on the police page, like a missing dog, or, hey, this crime happened,
Sure.
look for this car, or did you dump the brush in Field of Dreams? And you get all these tips and leads. I don't even remember what life was like before Facebook, honestly. Like, how did we even know about this stuff? We didn't, and it took so much
Yeah.
longer to solve crimes, right?
Yeah, I agree. It's very beneficial when we can utilize it, you know, and this is where I throw my budget hat on. That's why I control what we put out. I don't put every single thing out there on the page, because I know that 1,500 hits can go quick. And
Right.
Yeah.
once you go over that 1,500, that's where you can go over your budget very easily. So I try to control what is disseminated, you know, and not overkill with posts.
Something very relative that is really of importance.
Like road closures.
And while 1,500 hits per month for the police Facebook page may be adequate, township, we could probably chew that up in no time. So we certainly don't want to piggyback and join into the police contract.
No.
But, so the township Facebook page, will have some growing pains and a learning curve, but that's the thing. We will grow, it's growing, being able to reach more people in town.
Good.
And we
that's
will
one
get
thing-
there.
And they've been talking, like, when I was down at the League of Municipalities Convention in November, there were probably about 5 different classes on leveraging social media for your township. And the same thing when I was down at the OEM conference a couple weeks back. Same thing, that was one big topic they were talking about, is using social media for emergency management. You know, when you have a storm coming through, or the tornado that went up the river a year or two ago, you know, you're not going to put that on the website and hope someone will check it. You put it on social media, it will come in your newsfeed, you'll see what's going on. Same thing when we report on the road closures, or if I ever have to do it again, the bridge closed due to flooding in Riverside, which this week or next week, or
Right.
80 times till they fix that. It's pertinent, timely information as opposed to a website, which is mostly static, so.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think that the hurdle that, you know, the one hoop that we have to do is the records retention and archiving to meet our requirements under the Open Public Records Act. Other than that, I think, you know, let's keep moving forward and get it going.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Can we,
absolutely.
Can we get a vote to adopt the social media
Do
policy?
we need to do that, or how does that work?
Did you want to look into EAB first and then bring it back on June 10th?
No, because it's a
No.
group, it's not a page.
Actually,
it's
it's not a
private-
page,
It's
it's
a
a group.
private group,
Okay.
yeah. It's a
Now,
private
the only
group.
thing we didn't talk to Doug is if this had to be adopted by ordinance or resolution. Again,
Let's talk to Doug, we'll do it next month.
it's your call. I mean, if you do a resolution tonight, if you do a resolution tonight and he says, no, it has to be done by ordinance, then
Then we
we'll
just do it by ordinance.
introduce it on the 10th.
Great.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
So
And if the resolution isn't the right mechanism to adopt it, it has to be done by ordinance, then,
If it's a policy, it shouldn't need an ordinance, right?
well,
It's not a law.
I'm not an attorney, so
Well-
I'm not going to answer
Well,
that.
let's do the,
But you
let's
play one on TV.
do
we
the
adopt-
resolution
number?
Fern had a
tonight.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, this is township, but like the history board, which is a like of us.
Right.
And how about the library board, you know, any of
That's a
those?
private organization, the library
Yeah.
board.
Okay,
And the history board, that's They don't have a page.
They don't have a page.
They don't have.
No.
They don't want a page either. I've asked them.
Now, remember, this is informational only, and on our website, or even email blasts, we'll post information. Hey, History Board's got open house this weekend. We can do that on Facebook too.
Yep.
You know, we can, it's informational.
Right.
It's to reach more people with events
Right.
and news. And so we're just expanding our website and our email blast to another digital format to reach people. So, if there's a group, an organization that has an event that is a public event, we can certainly put that on the Facebook page, put that on
Right.
Facebook. Yeah, anything that we would put on our website as far as upcoming events, news and events, we can certainly do that on the Facebook page too. We wouldn't say, you're not township, so we can't post the library's, book sale coming up type
That's the whole
of thing.
purpose of information sharing.
It's-
Sharing the information.
Right.
So,
You
yeah.
share
Yeah.
DICE's stuff, you've done that for,
Yeah.
other organizations.
What we,
PTO,
what we will, not that we will, but what would be very difficult to do would be to have it as a two-way dialogue
Right.
format.
Right.
We just don't have the resources
No.
for something
Well,
like
no,
that.
we don't want it that way.
And then
No.
people
We
would,
don't want it.
if something was missed over the week, hey, you didn't get back to me, and
Right.
we really don't want to go there with a two-way dialogue.
Yeah, that's the way this was written,
Facebook.
for one way.
that that's going to get a result.
Yeah. So, I would say, we amend the personnel policy by resolution.
Yeah, so,
I would say if you want to do it tonight and adopt it, you could do a resolution. I'll double check with Doug to make sure that the resolution was acceptable, and if so, fine, you're done. If he said, no, this had to be adopted by ordinance, then I'll schedule it for first reading on your June 10th meeting.
okay.
I'm comfortable with the resolution for right now.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to need an ordinance if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but again, we want to double check with the solicitor to make sure
Sure.
that we are technically correct in how we adopt, and how the governing body adopts this.
and it would be number 84.
Probably 84,
Yep.
yes.
Okay.
Can we have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-84, adoption of the social media policy as in the packets?
Oh, so moved.
Anyone?
Second.
Carolyn and Kate. You want a roll call or all?
I think a roll call on this.
Okay. Roll call then, please, Jen.
Okay, Mrs. Patrick,
Yes.
Mr. Olet,
Yes, based on that, this is information, or providing a tool for information to go out to our residents. So it's an informational tool.
Yep.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton,
Well, as long as we have our training wheels on, yes.
and Mr. Bartlett.
Yes.
That's Resolution 2024-84, adopting the social media policy.
Thank you.
When you talk with Mr. Heinhold, would you ask him what the status of this situation with the EAB's private group thing, if that's, falls under this, or is operable, or
It's a very good question.
gets entangled in anything?
If it is, we could just amend the language in here and include that in.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could come back and amend it.
Well, and how would you know if somebody is creating a page that says, I'm Delanco Public Works, and now do we get blamed for that?
I don't think John knows how to use Facebook, so.
Anybody can do that, but it's all about who's running it. So
Yeah.
they trace it back to if it's a township authorized or not.
Yeah, when you set this up, there has to be administrators named, so that's traceable back to the municipality.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, that's why it's in here. The situation with the EAB. one,
Yeah,
is
it's in the
that
maybe
in the policy.
Maybe he didn't read it.
a township thing now?
I just read what we're sitting.
Yeah.
We'll get with Doug on that.
Specifically listed at the
If you want me to
beginning.
ask Doug, I will reach out to the solicitor and
You're never going to
Get
get
some
enough impersonators.
feedback on that.
Yeah, Facebook can't even do that.
Facebook
You
can
know
do
that.
it, yeah.
All right, number 2 on discussion items. Yep, sure, go ahead.
Can you, that link you found for the EAB page?
Yeah.
Can you screenshot and send that to Janice so she can send
Yep.
that to Doug and say, Is this good, bad, or needs to change?
Yep, I'll send that over to you, Jen. Number 2 under discussion items, New Jersey DOT fiscal year 2025 state aid grant program with a submission deadline of July 1st.
Richard, do you want to talk about it? or-
Sure. Yeah, you have from, Harry, we had a discussion, John and Carolyn, Harry and I, on this. Every year we go through this and point out at your next meeting, you want to do a resolution making the application for 2025. So in order to make that decision, you got to make sure you know where you are, what the plan is for 24, and our local money plan. Harry needs to update our 5-year plan to take into account all the streets that were done by PSE&G, by New Jersey American Water, which were not part of the original plan, so he'll do that. So right now, we're looking at what we want to do for 24 and 25. You'll note that in 24, we received $240,000 in state aid, and it's for the roads around the school. And he points out what they have to do, obviously, is submit their professional services proposal so we can get out to bids for that work, which is Chestnut from Union to Spruce, Walnut from Burlington to Hickory, and Spruce from Chestnut to Burlington. They gave us less money than we asked for, so he doesn't know that we can do all of it. There may be a block of Chestnut between Walnut and Union we might not be able to do, but as usual, we go out there, we have alternates. The interesting thing is that for the past 10 years, it's been recommended that we combine, when we go out to bids, the state aid funded streets with the local funded streets. You get a better price, obviously it works out better, and the state had no problem. All of a sudden now the state has a problem with that. Prior to that, 40 years prior to that, they had a problem with that. So that's why it doesn't surprise me they want us to do the state aid roads in a separate contract than the local roads, which will probably end up costing a little bit more money and moves things along differently. But, so the bottom line is that that's what we're talking about for this year's DOT money. The local money that we have, the next spots in the long-term plan would include Delaware Avenue from Walnut to Hazel, and he's indicating that's 100,000, and then Second Street from Oakford to Maples, another 100,000, because we put 200,000 in the budget for that. And so that's what he's proposing that we spend this year's money on. We talked about a lot of streets back during budget time, but this is what we all concluded is the best way to spend that money this year. So if that makes sense to do, the question is, what do we apply for 2025? State aid, when looking at the streets that had the worst ratings that hadn't been done, and to get state aid money, you want to show traffic volume, which is why we got around the schools, because we did the traffic counts while school was in session. So Ray will enjoy hearing this. Newton's Landing Boulevard is one of the highest volume streets in town, and it's also connects to a county road, and it is a major gateway. The state won't pay for us to do back roads, as it were. So he's recommending that for 2025, you include in your resolution requesting $112,000 to mill and overlay and install curb adjacent to the high point. You know, there was that issue back there while he's at it. He threw that in there, 112. And then we also asked for Edgewood from Burlington to Delaware Avenue for another $204,000, asking for $316. Last year, remember, they gave us $239, so you ask for it, you see what you're going to get. But so that's what he's proposing that you have on your agenda for June 10th to apply. He's suggesting that in 2025, assuming you appropriate another $200,000 approximately, that the next streets to do are Union Avenue from Burlington to Delaware and Delaware from Union to Willow. And so that's the plan of action. Obviously, he'll give us an update of the 5-year plan that you can look for the local money, at least for 25. But if this makes sense to everybody, we're prepared for that resolution for the state aid grant for next meeting.
Good, makes
What do you
sense to
think?
me.
Yes.
With the Delaware from Union to Willow, with the Zurbrigg seawall getting done, that whole park getting redone, would it make more sense to swap anything from this year to next year and vice versa?
No, we
Carolyn
did it
shaking
in
her head no.
25 specifically to wait till the seawall was done.
Right, but when would we be doing the 24 paving? It wouldn't probably be till October, November again, right?
The 24
The
paving.
25
Correct.
The 25 paving is.
Yeah, the 24, the
24 is
Delaware from
already-
Wawa to Hazel does not
Yeah.
affect the seawall. It's not near the seawall.
No.
Yeah.
Delaware from Union to Willow, I'm talking about.
He's talking the 25.
The
not
25.
talking
That's
about the-
25. That would be done in the fall of 25.
Yeah.
Right, that's why I'm saying, why
We'll
not
be
do
done
it-
with the seawall.
Why not do it
We
in
don't
fall
know
of
if the- We
24?
don't know if the seawall will be done.
We only
wanna
have so
make
much money.
sure
Oh, we wanna make-
everything's
okay.
done.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
Park,
that's
we
done,
want
okay.
everything done.
Oh, yeah, you don't
The
want that
wall
both going
and
on at the
maybe
same time.
park done, everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, fair enough.
So we actually plan, you're exactly right. We're planning when to do those pieces of Delaware and when the seawall's gonna be done.
Yeah, it actually worked out, and we didn't plan it that way.
I know, it was like, in everybody's
Yeah.
minds, we're sitting like, oh,
I
this is
thought you
red,
planned it that
this
way.
purple, how'd we do that?
The 5-year program actually had that
That's-
slated
It
for
was slated.
25 anyway,
Karen did
so.
a good job with
yeah.
that 5-year
Good timing,
program.
everyone.
So, I mean, obviously, this is just projection. The only thing you have to do, the 24 money stuff, we're gonna get out to bids.
Right.
Harry's gotta give us his proposal, we can get out to bids this summer, so this stuff's done, and then you gotta apply for the 25 for Newton's Landing Boulevard and Edgewood, if that makes sense.
I'm
Yes.
happy to see Delaware from Walnut to Hazel done, because that street is a disaster. It's literally cracked the entire street, so.
Yeah.
Yay for that.
That's red, whereas the other piece of Delaware was orange on the map, so
Yeah,
it
that
made more
section-
sense to do that one first.
That section of Delaware has the stormwater issue too, that they're trying to figure out whether a pipe's caved in or blocked or.
They're thinking they might have to excavate that. They're still waiting on, I think what Delran was gonna go out there and try to.
Yeah,
scope that
well,
for
yeah,
us.
that's,
Joe,
you're talking about the pipe that's,
as he's sitting in the
The
audience.
stormwater pipe that's clogged.
yeah, that's going out there. No, he'll do it when he gets a chance. Leave him alone.
What are you doing here, Joe? Just go out there now, take care of it.
He'll get done.
Thank you, sir.
He does promises. He keeps all his promises,
That's good.
We appreciate you.
Yes.
so.
All right.
So what do you think? Are we okay with this plan of action unless you see otherwise when the
Yes.
Yep.
whole plan comes out?
Good
Okay.
plan.
All right, we're ready to roll for June 10th meeting, Janice and Bev.
Yep.
All right, let's go for it. And then I gotta
Okay.
push Harry to get his proposals in to do the
Right.
24 work. Okay,
Okay.
Very good.
I'm done. Go home.
Does
Anything else?
anybody have anything else for this evening?
Put a bow on it.
All right. I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Hope everyone has a very safe Memorial Day weekend and hope to see everybody at the parade.
Yes.
The shuttle bus leaves West Avenue at